Mob takedowns in years. Dozens of people were arrested today here in the United States and in Italy. Federal agents are going all out to bust the mob, saying they cannot afford to let up. Here's Chief Investigative Correspondent Armen Keteyian.
59 members or associates of the Gambino crime family, including the top 3 bosses, were rounded up in pre-dawn raids in New York, Florida, and New Jersey, capping one of the biggest organized crime investigations in FBI history.
Today's indictment serves as a stark reminder that organized crime is not fiction. In fact, it is real, it is alive, and it is a pervasive threat.
The defendants, guys with names like Jackie the Nose and Tommy Sneakers, were charged with a litany of all too familiar mob-related offenses: murder, assault, racketeering, extortion, robbery, loan sharking, and drug distribution. 80 counts in all.
It covers more than 3 decades of criminal activity and reflects the Gambino family's corrosive influence.
Today's arrests also serve as a wake-up call for those who thought the mob was dead. Buried 6 years ago along with John Gotti Sr., the godfather of the Gambinos.
While you're out, what's your reaction to that?
Law enforcement sources tell CBS News that since 9/11, mob leaders, disgusted with Gotti's flamboyant style, have kept a low profile while shifting into high gear, exploding to the point where 1/3 of the FBI's criminal division in New York is now devoted solely to combating La Cosa Nostra, as well as emerging criminal enterprises headed by Albanians, Russians, and Asians.
There's really a cornucopia of vices and opportunities out there that they exploit as best they can.
Today, the FBI delivered what it called a walloping blow to some of those exploits. The latest round in a fight that's far from over. Armen Keteyian, CBS News, New York.
Welcome to CBS This Morning. Good morning, Nora.
Good morning to you, Charlie. We start with some breaking news.
Some very interesting stories. We begin with a major strike against the mafia. Police in Italy and the United States say they broke up a large organized crime operation overnight. A series of top-secret raids captured more than 24 suspects. The FBI arrested 7 people in the New York City area.
Police say the operation targets drug and arms trafficking across the Atlantic. Only our cameras were there for one of the raids in southern Italy. Alan Pizzi is in Reggio Calabria with a video you'll see only on CBS This Morning. Alan, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie and Nora. The focus of the operation was breaking a new drug smuggling route that runs through the southern Italian port of Gioia Tauro and links an Italian mafia organization with one in the U.S. The Italian raids were codenamed New Bridge and involved nearly 150 police tasked with hitting up to 20 locations. As the convoys sped onto the main road, they split up, heading for what they called objectives in suburbs and surrounding villages. The operation is being conducted in the dead of night under strict rules of secrecy because this entire area is infested with the local version of the mafia, which means they literally have eyes and ears everywhere. But 5 carloads of police arrived at this location so fast
No, go, follow the cars.
that the target only knew he was about to be arrested when the officer in charge knocked politely on his door and said good morning. The head of this surprisingly modest household is an alleged member of the 'Ndrangheta, a tight-knit and violent organization that is a major player in international heroin and cocaine smuggling and money laundering, with ties to the powerful Gambino crime family in New York. Italian police took part in the U.S. raids, and FBI special agents who cannot be identified were on hand here.
We have a particularly strong relationship with the Italians that goes back a number of decades.
Police and dogs searched the house, but only a couple of officers outside drew guns as a precautionary measure. These guys, the FBI agent said, see getting caught and doing time as part of the price of doing business. This one was escorted out carrying a blue bag and went so willingly he wasn't even in handcuffs.
This took 2 years to put together. What's it like to be here now and see it come to fruition?
It's good to get to this point to finally develop the evidence that we can use to indict individuals who are engaged in criminal activity.
The arrest won't put an end to the Italian-U.S. drug connection, but in the words of the FBI agent here, they'll certainly have a significant impact.
As the Italian raids were in progress, simultaneous operations in the United States netted 7 suspects, alleged members of 2 New York crime families. Court appearances are expected later today. By the way, the blurred faces you saw in that report were the suspects blurred at the request of the Italian authorities. Charlie, Nora?
Alan, thanks for the